Okay, so in your reading, you will find that when you want the domain of combinations of functions like sums, differences, products, and quotients, you have to know the domain of each individual function and take the intersection of those domains. So the domain of F is the set A, and the domain of G is the set B. So the domain of the sum, difference, or product will always be the intersection of those two sets, what they have in common. Notice that it's an upside down U. Before it was union, this is intersection. For the quotient, you have to also take out the values of G that would make the denominator 0. So again, it's the intersection of the two domains and take out the values that make a denominator 0. So let's see how we apply that to our homework problem. Oh, wait, just erase that. Okay, function f of x, which is 9 minus x squared, which is the blue one, you can see it's a semicircle. I'm sorry, the square root of 9 minus x squared, because the function 9 minus x squared would be the circle of radius 3, centered at the origin, and the square root is the top half. The positive square root would be the top half of that circle. For g of x equals the square root of x plus 3, you get the square root function shifted 3 units to the left. So this is negative 3, 0 right here. Okay, so you can see that the domain of f of x is just the numbers from negative 3 to positive 3. You can see this from the graph. The domain of g of x is all numbers greater than negative 3, because you get points in the graph as long as your x values are greater than negative 3. So what's the intersection of those two? The intersection is just the set of numbers from negative 3 to positive 3. And so that would be the domain of the function that is the product of those two. Now let me show you what you can do with Desmos. If you enter the function and call it f of x, and enter the second function and call it f of g, then you can do, you can do f times g. I think you need to use function notation of x, and I thought it was gonna graph it, but apparently function f. Oh, okay. So it wants me to write. This is what it wants me to write. Okay. So it says here, function f requires an argument. For example, try typing f of x. So it doesn't like this notation. It wants me to do f of x times, and I think I can just go g of x. I think. Yep. And you can see that when you do that, it graphs the function with the restricted domain from f and g product. So that's another shortcut you can take in Desmos, by the way. The TI calculator won't do it that way. The TI calculator, I'm not sure what it'll do, but you might want to try that and see.